pulpy kidney disease or disease caused by the Clostridium perfringens type B. Because of the characteristic presence of postmortem lesions of pulpy kidney, soft and pulpy kidney, it is named as a pulpy kidney disease. It is also referred as overeating disease. So depending on the pathogenicity of that particular strain or particular species of that Clostridium perfringens type B, it can be exhibited in acute, subacute, or chronic neurological forms. And it is characterized by sudden death or neurological or respiratory signs, including this blindness, opisthotonus, convulsions, bleeding, frothing of mouth, and recurrency with paddling immediately before death. In goats, you could notice the hemorrhagic diarrhea, abdominal discomfort, severe shock, opisthotonus, and convulsion abdominal discomfort. Actually, these Clostridium perfringens, they are also normal intestinal commensal. Many times they don't produce the disease, though it will be present in the gastrointestinal tract. There are certain predisposing conditions are there, like high concentration or grain or starchy food, or also stasis or infection of the alimentary tract, sudden change in the feed from roughages to the grain, which causes the impaction, and it leads to the indigestion of starch, as well as impaction leads to the accumulation of ingested content for longer duration of the time, and it creates the favorable environment for the growth and multiplication of these Clostridium perfringens type D, and ultimately it secretes the, while growing, it secretes the alpha and epsilon toxin, and the epsilon toxin is the one of the important one, and it is a primarily important for the production of pathology, what you may notice in the pulpy kidney disease. Whenever there will be a predisposing factor like sudden change in the feed or heavy impaction or excessive feeding of starch or carbohydrate containing food, it leads to the impaction and inadequate ruminal flora for digestion of the starch. Undigested starch may pass into the intestine and act as a substrate for the bacteria, and which promotes the growth of this Clostridium perfringens type D, which proliferates, and as there will be no improper digestion would be there, so glucose deficiency would be there, and glucose deficient environment stimulate these bacteria to secrete epsilon toxin. These epsilon toxin, it is a necrotizing, as well as it affects the endothelial cells. So it initially causes the this epsilon toxin, it is secreted into the intestine as a prototoxin. It is as such, it is not toxic to the any host cellular component. Okay, but with the help of proteases enzymes, it will get cleaved and it converts into its active form, and that active form may lead to the necrotizing effect over the intestinal villi. From intestine, it will get absorbed into the body, and in the body, it will circulate throughout the body, and it affects the endothelial cells. It will cause the damage to the endothelial cells of specifically in the lung, brain, as well as in the kidney, and it causes the increase in the interendothelial gaps, as well as interendothelial tight junctions would be there. So it will cause degeneration of such tight junctions, and it increases the permeability that ultimately will be reflected with presence of edematous changes. Vasogenic brain edema would be there, as well as you would notice the pulmonary edema and other accumulation of serous fluid in the other visceral organs, as well as visceral cavities like pericardium noticed. This ultimately causes the necrotizing enteritis, as well as it causes the damage to the endothelium. So you will notice the pulmonary congestion and edema in the lungs. There will be excessive exhalation of the fluid, and congestion would be there. Serosal surfaces, you would notice serosal surfaces like epicardium, or this pericardium is there. Serosa of the other visceral organs are there. There you would notice the petechial to ecchymotic hemorrhages. Serofibrinous pericardial effusions can be noticed. Congested, soft, and pulpy kidneys, as I told, it goes, this toxin will affect the proximal convoluted tubules, as well as these capillary blood endothelium of the capillaries, and it causes the damage to these, and after death, very quickly you would notice the autolytic changes in the kidney, and kidney will become soft and pulpy. In the brain, you would notice the focal or bilaterally symmetrical encephalomalacia, necrotic bilateral symmetric necrotic lesions that can be noticed in the brain. Sheep would have a dark green intestinal content with segmental gas distension. In case of goat, lesions usually confined to gastrointestinal tract, and fibronecrotic enterocolitis most frequently you would notice. Typical and characteristic postmortem lesions that you may notice in the affected animals. So in this slide, you can clearly appreciate the presence of these. These are the heart from the lamb affected with this Clostridium perfringens type D enterotoxemia, that is a pulpy kidney disease, wherein you could clearly identify presence of the serous fluid in the pericardial sac, that is called as hydropericardium. Sometimes you would notice the excessive accumulation of fibrin, and after some time this fluid may get clot. So clots, fibrin clots can also be noticed in the thoracic cavity. You could notice the clotted pleural fluid in the goat is affected with this enterotoxemia. So as this fibrin content is more, it has got clotted. So in the peritoneal cavity also, you would notice these accumulation of serous fluid due to increase in the permeability. Thick gelatinous fibrin clot. Here you can clearly appreciate the presence of thick gelatinous fibrin clot in the pericardial cavity of lamb affected with the Clostridium perfringens type B, that is enterotoxemia or pulpy kidney disease. In this image, you can clearly appreciate the presence of interstitial emphysema as well as edema, wherein you could clearly appreciate the presence of these in between these lobular structures. Clear spaces has been formed due to accumulation of these edema as well as this air. So such type of edematous and emphysematous lesions can be noticed in the affected animals. So this is the kidney, which is soft and pulpy. Immediately after death of these animals, if you just do the postmortem examination, normally it should, such soft and pulpy kidneys can be noticed after some times of death when these postmortem autolytic changes may progress. But immediately after death also, if you could do the postmortem examination, and this is considered to be pathognomonic lesions. But it is not the rule that in all the cases you may notice such pulpy kidneys. Okay, sometimes you may notice these pulpy kidneys, sometimes may not. But if it is present, you can clearly suspect for the disease, that is enterotoxemia. So here in the internal capsule as well as in the thalamus or in the cerebral peduncle, you could notice the necrotic lesions which will be soft. So that is called as encephalomalacia. So focal symmetrical encephalomalacia that produced due to this epsilon toxin, it is also considered to be one of the pathognomonic lesion for this enterotoxemia. So such Frohde exudate can be noticed in the lung alveoli. In case of goat, most of the time in older animals or in the vaccinated animals, you could notice the subacute form, which shows mainly gastrointestinal type of alterations, wherein you could identify the affections of the colon. So here, serosal view of the spiral colon of the goat with subacute type of enterotoxemia. The serosa is hyperemic and colon is distended by the gas and fluid and as well as fibrin. So if you could open such affected colon here, you can clearly appreciate the presence of severe mucosal congestion along with the deposition of very thin yellowish fibrin layer over the mucosa. It indicates the necrohemorrhagic colitis. Okay, so these necrohemorrhagic or fibrino-necrohemorrhagic colitis, it is one of the characteristic finding in the goats.